difference of this fourth industrial revolution is it doesn't change what you are doing, it changes you. If you take genetic editing, just as an example, it's you who are changed.
By hacking organisms, elites may gain the power to re-engineer the future of life itself. Now, in the past, many tyrants and governments wanted to do it, but nobody understood biology well enough, and nobody had enough computing power and data to hack millions of people. Neither the Gestapo nor the KGB could do it. But soon, at least some corporations and governments will be able.
Mr. President, can you tell us, sir, Donald Trump refers to himself as a political prisoner and blames you directly. What's your response to that, sir?
And fuck us all anyway, for the limber dick cocksuckers we are. Welcome to fucking Deadwood. Can be combatant. Oh.
Comey was indicted by a grand jury on Thursday on allegations he lied to Congress 5 years ago.
Well, being as you're the bearer of unsettling news, why don't you step the fuck inside?
Regarding the FBI's investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election.
Self-deceiving cocksucker I am.
He was charged with making a false statement and obstruction. Comey has denied any wrongdoing.
Nervousness don't cause that. Lying causes that.
The indictment marks the culmination of Trump's years-long obsession with Comey, going back as early as July 2016 when the FBI under Comey opened the probe into Russian interference in the 2016 election.
It was a sham proposition to begin with.
Less than a year later, in May 2017, Trump fired Comey after he refused to pledge loyalty to him.
You don't figure a good talking to would do the trick.
Then in December 2018, the New York Times reported that Trump had told the White House counsel in the spring he wanted the DOJ to prosecute both Comey and Hillary Clinton.
You can't cut the throat of every cocksucker whose character it would improve.
That next summer, the DOJ's Inspector General released a report stating Comey violated FBI policy back in 2017.
A double-crossing cocksucker.
So all of that brings us to the present day. Just a week ago, Trump took to Truth Social demanding Attorney General Pam Bondi prosecute his perceived enemies, including Comey.
You can help your delicate sensibilities by turning the fuck away.
5 days later, the DOJ followed suit and indicted Comey. Our next guest, though, says that none of us should be surprised. In fact, here's what he predicted on this show just a month ago.
That's a breach of goddamn trust.
Guaranteed. All of the folks that you just showed on that list need to lawyer up, and each and every one of them, in my opinion, will ultimately suffer a repercussion. Everyone from Bolton all the way around the wheel to Chris Krebs, every one of them needs to lawyer up, because right now, Donald Trump is controlling the game.
A failure to properly value your freedom in the promising days ahead.
Where do you think this ends?
So my prediction is James Comey is probably next, and I believe each and every one of them, again, take the entire flywheel there, each and every one of them will be indicted.
Why Comey next?
Just my gut. You know, again, I was so involved.
A devious fuck nut.
And so entrenched with Trump for a decade and a half, I sort of understand him. Comey is an irritant to him. And so I do believe that, again, my prediction.
Quagmire, piss and bullshit.
Joining us now is Michael Cohen, former personal attorney to Donald Trump, host of the Mea Culpa podcast, and author of the highly rated Real Michael Cohen Substack.
Always a little sketchy about me.
Okay, Michael, I've got to give credit where credit's due.
Thank you.
You predicted this, not that it's a great development for the rule of law in our country. So did you think it would be this fast, though? And who do you think's next?
I need to make a fucking impression.
Well, is it about the rule of law? Do any of us actually really know whether or not Comey is or is not guilty?
Ain't the state of things cloudy enough? Don't we face enough fucking imponderables?
Of the charges? I know that they parade out all of these pundits. They have the great titles in the Chiron, former prosecutor, yada yada, former FBI.
Full of lying, thieving cocksuckers that you can't trust at all.
Who's seen a single document that's in the possession right now of the DOJ? The answer is nobody. Who has the crystal ball? Still nobody. I will tell you from my investigation, which I used Brian Karam, who's a 30-year White House correspondent, to speak to people inside government because they wouldn't talk to me.
Why would I expect otherwise?
I've learned that Comey was actually very much involved in the Russia investigation in a very negative way. And chances are this DOJ has every single email, every text message, every communication. I believe likely he will be found guilty.
Well, we'll be ready.
Oh, well, that's interesting because
I think he likely committed a crime.
Wait, what? What specifically?
I believe likely he committed a crime. I don't know what that crime is, but there are hundreds of thousands of documents, and government has each and every one of them. All they need to find is that one.
Hazard to one, it's hazard to all.
And remember, see, James Comey, when he was the head of the FBI, he was so used to punching down. Well, now you have the FBI that's going to be punching up. I've been through this system.
That attended the same fucking meeting you did.
I know better than anybody what a weaponized DOJ looks like and feels like.
Because sometimes that's stupid.
It is insurmountable.
Didn't you actually break the law, though? With Stormy Daniels and the payment?
Well, before I can answer that question, I better know who the fuck you are.
Well, it was a campaign finance violation. Is it any different than, for example, John Edwards?
But isn't that what the law is supposed to do?
Let me say I did. I pled. I pled also under some very extreme circumstances. My entire case didn't last like everyone else's. It was 48 hours.
Don't subject me to death by water torture.
Either from a Friday to a Monday, either I plead guilty or Southern District of New York was filing an 80-page indictment that included my wife. So before we get into
don't have to relitigate. Yeah.
we could relitigate the whole thing.
Don't fucking lie to me.
But I believe that Comey likely will be found guilty.
Comey will have his day in court, but I just want to kind of come back to what the conversation is about here, which is the weaponization of the Department of Justice. What you're saying right now is that the Department of Justice under Donald Trump has been weaponized or has not been weaponized?
I think it's been weaponized under more than just Donald Trump. I think it's been weaponized by government for, I don't know, as long as it's been around.
Well, because I think your argument is it was weaponized then by Comey against Donald Trump. That's what you're arguing right now. And so you think that there will be evidence that will show that in court and so thus validate Donald Trump's vendetta against James Comey.
At least I couldn't have said it better.
You're fucking right.
I'm no fan of James Comey. Too tall, bad writer. But I think that if they had evidence, wouldn't they have charged? Because the charge here is that he's charged in like lying and also misstatements. And there's there's this grand jury. There's this hearing where he's
spit it out.
Talking and they say it shows that he's lied. I mean, it seems pretty thin. Wouldn't they charge the stuff that they had if they had stuff?
Ain't you clever to see through this subterfuge?
Maybe. Maybe not. They don't have to. Again, I think running.
So you're basically implying there's no rule of law. I mean, what you're suggesting is when you keep saying maybe, you're basically suggesting that we're at a point where there is no rule of law and whoever's in power.
Donald Trump is the DOJ and Donald Trump is controlling the DOJ. I believe that they will find the documentation or they already have the documentation necessary. Now, you also asked me who I think is next.
Being it's inevitable anyway.
All right, my prediction, it's either going to be one of two people, Tish James, or it's going to be George Soros.
You don't know yet what he wants to do.
He has been raising the specter of George Soros and his philanthropic activities. And Letitia James, though, didn't he just fire a prosecutor for not taking the case against her on mortgage fraud? But to go back to the case against Comey, it's a really tough case to win in court.
How do you know?
Assume you ain't been privy to the ins and outs of that matter for the sake of fucking conversation, huh?
Because obstruction that he lied under oath.
How do you know?
And that
hold on. Here's it's not about how we know or not because we don't know the evidence, right? So we're not going to go down that road. But I will tell you what has transpired. Donald Trump in the middle of his campaign, says he's all about retribution.
What's that got to do with the price of fish?
Right? He did not like James Comey. He then gets elected president in an interview with Kristen Welker.
Right.
Basically says that he wants the Department of Justice to go after these people. Last week, sends out a tweet in the middle of the day, basically saying he wants his attorney general. The attorney at the time who could have prosecuted that case was basically saying, hey, there's not a lot of evidence for me to go after James Comey.
I warned you about that loopy cunt.
The person they bring in who has zero prosecutorial experience makes the decision that she wants to go after James Comey for her 15 minutes of fame. Again, as I said, Jim Comey will have his day in court. The broader issue that I have is trying to take a step back and say, oh, this is just the normal wheels of justice spinning.
Does that give you the vapors?
But I'm not sure if you're saying because of your own personal experience, we have no rules and we have no justice in this country.
Isn't that the way it looks?
I'm asking you to make that point.
Absolutely.
That's what you're saying.
In fact, I can give you the comparison. I want people to understand, I'm not here defending Donald Trump.
He just overplayed trying to prove himself.
What I'm trying to do is to explain where we are at, because you listen to all the pundits, they can sit there with their fancy titles and tell you whatever they want. Well, that's not a reality.
Let's actually play some.
Yeah, let's play some of this. Take a listen to some of these pundits that you're talking about.
Well, I don't think there's a case. It seems to be premised on something that's not true.
This is not a slam dunk case.
It is so lean. I was looking for an introduction, didn't even get that. We will get some.
It's been shot up with Ozempic. That is how lean it is.
This isn't a particularly well predicated indictment. That the indictment itself is quite weak, and that it's unlikely to survive in court.
I can take care of all of them in one fell swoop.
All right, not exactly opposition pundits there. Nope. Those are right-wing media allies of Donald Trump who are saying this case is pretty thin.
I mean, when you've lost Alan Dershowitz.
And Ben Shapiro.
Right, but Alan Dershowitz, I mean, he's defended some.
He's defended everybody.
Yeah,
Alan plays both sides of the. But think about this, too.
And how could we fuck up?
You talked about how Trump has gone on and talked about going after James Comey. Didn't Tish James do the exact same thing to Donald Trump? Haven't we heard the exact same scenarios from pundits on both sides say, come on, nobody's ever been charged with this type of a crime? We've heard the same thing. My point is, we have lost as Americans our way.
Are you dead?
And I'm saying, let's not get distracted by James Comey. James Comey will have his day in court. Good luck to him. Not a fan, but good luck to him.
Everybody's got limits.
Let's concentrate on tariffs, the economy. Let's concentrate on the things that matter to the American people that will help us to bring the midterm elections back to the Democrats.
Fucking plague.
That's what I want to don't get sidetracked by all of the hoopla around James Comey.
Not a fan of James Comey, but it's the head of the FBI. I mean, this is I said he was the head of the FBI. Indicting that person on something that everyone else has said is very thin seems like a pretty big deal.
Not at all.
Well, we'll see.
Seems like a
we'll
dangerous
see when the
precedent
evidence comes out what it is that they're doing.